So I got my hands on the Halo Infinite flight, and I've been playing it, and I really enjoy it, and I've got a lot to say. Let's get into it. Okay, so before we get into the video, I would just like to state that I will be on vacation from the 1st to the 20th, so you guys won't see any content coming out for a little bit for most of the month of October, but videos will resume as normal once I get back. And yeah, so with that being said, let's get into the game. I'm really excited. I had a lot of fun playing it so far. I'm excited to try Big Team Battle. And I've got a lot to say about the game. I've got some gripes, I've got some really high positive notes, and overall I had a good experience. So, the Halo Infinite flight has released, and I was lucky enough to get access on PC. I had access to the first one, but it was only on Xbox, and I didn't really play too much of it just because I don't play console. I'm not really familiar with it. I mean, I played enough on console, you know, but I don't prefer the controller setup. So anyways, yeah, I got the flight, and I started playing it today, did some PvP. This flight is going to be Arena Slayer, which is what's going on this weekend, and then next weekend we will have Big Team Battles. Unfortunately, I won't be able to make a video covering Big Team Battles because I will be gone, I'll be out of town. But I've got some content for the Arena Slayer, and I've got some general overview thoughts and impressions of the game that I'll go over with you guys. And, you know, I gotta say, I'm impressed. I really am. It feels good. It feels like a true Halo game with a new fresh coat of paint and some new additions that aren't going too crazy out of the grand sandbox that Halo creates. You know, the combat feels good. The weapons feel fantastic. I really like the way that all of them feel. I like the variety and the visual design. I will say that the AR is a workhorse. That gun is so good. I really am glad that the AR is good in this game. And graphically, you know, the game's beautiful. It looks really good. There are some issues I noticed with the flight. I don't know if that's just something on their end that hasn't been fixed, but there was some texture popping and things like that. But you know, besides that, you know, it's been good, and the AI system is hilarious.
Nope, I'm gonna be sick. Overshield inbound.
God, I love it. I mean, you know, it's a nice touch. I think adding the AI and the personalization to your Spartan just makes that a little bit more connective with the player, you know. I'm really excited for what this game is going to bring to the table and hopefully rejuvenate the Halo franchise. I'm going to be going over, you know, the weapon sandbox and just, you know, some gripes I have about the game, some big pros I have about the game, but I wanted to get this general, I guess, opinion out first before we get into the meat and potatoes of the video. But I like the game. I think it's worth it. If you guys haven't checked it out yet, please go and check out the Infinite Flight. Get some games in and let me know what you think. Alright, so the most important thing of any game is the gameplay, obviously, and how it plays and how it feels. And overall, it feels really good. Infinite is smooth. There's not too many issues I have with it so far. One of the main core gameplay things I think is kind of off for me is the melee. There's usually a lunge and more of a beefy impact when you hit someone, and for some reason, just the melee feels wonky. I don't really know how to explain it. Like, I've meleeed people and my angle on the screen wasn't really facing towards them and I still got the kill. So I'm not too fond of the melee system right now. It might be reworked, it might not. I might just have to get over it. But there's no lunge either. You really have to get up in someone's face to kill them with a melee kill, and it just doesn't do it for me. I'm not too keen on the melee. In terms of movement, you have sprint now, which is a default ability that comes with the game, and it doesn't feel out of place, honestly. I usually am not a fan of sprint in Halo. I didn't like it in 4 or 5, but it works here. It's got a different feel to it than those games, and your Spartan doesn't feel too fast, he doesn't feel too slow, and it gives a little bit more realism. I mean, obviously Spartans aren't going to be walking around, you know, the entire time on a battlefield, so I think it works. It's a good addition. So yeah, you know, core gameplay wise, everything is pretty solid. Guns play very well with the sandbox. They all have their own purpose, and the power-ups are very useful. I think they're all unique, and they're good additions to the game. They're nothing crazy, you know, there's no like ground pounds like there was in Halo 5, and like no armor lock, nothing like that. Everything that they put here into the game to be used as a power-up works phenomenally well. Equipment and power-ups is very, very important to Halo, and I think they really nailed it with that. You know, I was worried that they were going to add some crazy shit like Halo 5 had, and it's nothing like that at all. Nothing at all. It's very, very balanced, and I think it has a fitting place in this sandbox.
Take down your targets quickly. 30 seconds remaining.
So, as we all know, the key part of Halo is the weapon sandbox. You know, it's known for having these sci-fi guns that are very varied and unique and just have all kinds of different functions, and Halo Infinite goes above and beyond with that. We've got Banished-inspired weapons, we've got new UNSC weapons, we've got all kinds of stuff, and they all serve a purpose, and they all function and mesh well together. And that's the key. That's one of the most important things to Halo. It really is. I cannot emphasize that enough. If your weapon sandbox is good, it will make the gameplay loop a lot better. And I have no complaints. I mean, the rocket launcher functions just as it should. It sounds beefy. The Bulldog is the new shotgun replacement, and it's great. It could be a little more powerful in my opinion, but that's just me. The Ravager is fantastic, as you're seeing here. It's a Banished-inspired plasma weapon that also has a secondary fire that splashes out fire all over the floor. I mean, dude, the guns are insane. They're super cool. They're unique. There's literally like a giant rocket launcher type thing that shoots a freaking huge spike out of it, and it's insane. I don't have too much to speak on the weapons. They're all unique. They all fit the sandbox really well. They're aesthetically pleasing. The feel and sound of them are all really good, and I'm pleased. 10 out of 10 on the weapons. You know, I have no complaints. Overall, I think Infinite is going in the right direction, and I do think the game has a ton of potential to be the next new Halo title that will stand out and actually make an impact on the series. You know, as for issues, the only things that I really noticed, I complained about the melee earlier. I'm not a fan of it. I think it needs a little bit of a rework, but if it doesn't get a rework, I'm not going to cry about it. It's not the end of the world, but I'm not too happy with it. I also feel like I had some graphical issues with the game, and I know my PC is more than capable. It's above the recommended specs for the game. But I had some like pop-ins and some really bad like texture flickering at times, and I was running on different graphic settings. I tried all three presets, high, medium, and low, and I still had the same issue regardless, so I'm not sure what that was all about. And also their server connections. I noticed that all the matches that I played, I would have times where I'm like jittering around, or you know, like teleporting around the place, or my projectiles would be like going one direction and then move to the left a little bit because of the latency going on. So, I mean, my internet's pretty solid. I don't think it was my end. I do think the servers need some work. I saw some people in a couple Discords talking about that, so I don't know if that'll be fixed. Hopefully it will be in the final game, but besides those main issues, I don't really have too many gripes with the game. I am not a fan of the XP system. So in Halo Infinite, you don't get direct progression XP. You only level up based on challenge completion, which I think is a terrible system. I think it's an absolutely awful system to do. You should have general progression and challenges, because if you can only level up through challenges, it's going to force a certain play style for people. Like, let's say you need to get 10 headshots with a sniper. Everybody's going to be fighting over the sniper, and then you're going to have one dude, you know, picking everybody off trying to get those headshots. Or, you know, 10 splatters with a warthog. Someone's going to, you know, there's going to be a bunch of people fighting over the warthog just to get the warthog, and it's going to kind of upset the balance of how the gameplay goes, where everybody kind of does their own thing, you know, figures out what they want to do for that match and then does it. Instead, it's going to be all for one, you know, one common goal, which is going to make the gameplay loop a little bit little bit clustered and a little bit just not ordinary to normal Halo matches. So I do think that the progression system needs to be reworked. I think they should add general progression and leveling instead of just challenge progression to level up your battle pass. As for armor coating, I'm not a huge fan, but I don't hate it. I do wish it was more personalized. I wish you could like pick different colors from each armor coat and then like mix them into one, or maybe like paint individual pieces or something like that. It would add to the expression a little bit more, but I do understand why they're doing it. I'm not a fan of the armor coating. I'd rather have just, you know, I want to customize my Spartan with whatever colors that I unlock. But, you know, maybe they'll add some stuff in the future for that. Besides that, I don't really have any complaints. Like I said, I really like the game. I think it's going in the right direction. I will definitely be playing it, and campaign wise, would I pay $60 for it? Yeah, I probably would. I mean, if this gives any indication of how the actual game is going to be, I think it'll be fantastic. I think it's going to be a good narrative. It's going to expand on the Master Chief story, and I can't wait to dive into another adventure with Halo. I really can't. I'm at a loss, honestly, for words when it comes to the fact that we're getting a new Halo game. After Halo 5, I honestly thought that we weren't going to see any other Halo titles at all, and I was pleasantly surprised. So this is my general overview. I know it was kind of all over the place. I'm not the best at making these kind of videos, so bear with me. I'll get better at it as time goes on. I do want to do more commentary and review kind of stuff, but these are my thoughts and my opinions on Halo Infinite. If there's anything you felt like you liked or disliked about the game, or anything you're curious about and you want to know, or maybe get a video on, let me know in the comments below. There's a lot of good stuff here, and if you haven't checked it out yet, I really recommend it. My thumbs up for Infinite, and hopefully your guys' are too. I'll see you guys in the next video.